Hey my boy everyone, MARKCHES here. Welcome to the channel. And today, a lot of you have been requesting me to do this comparison. So without further ado, let's do it. Right in front of me, on my right, is of course the KD14, one of my favorites. Currently, right now, for 2021, it's on my top 5 list. If you are going to ask me that, it is yes, it's currently in my top 5. We'll get to that in a while, the reason why. And on my left is of course the Freak 3, which is coming fast to become one of my favorites right now. If you haven't watched a performance review yet, please do so. It's in my previous videos. And let's go head to head between these two sneakers, two of my favorite sneakers from Nike. So let's start with the uppers. The upper of the KD14 features this net-like material with some felt overlay on top. And at first, I was not too fan of this upper, but when you first wear it, it's pretty comfortable. It's not the super fused type upper. It's soft, and as you wear them, it becomes softer over time. So for the material of the KD14, I like the material, but I just don't like the first colorway that came out, which is this black and with this kind of leopard print. At the back, you can see the peach that is seen, the same color that you can see here on the Giannis. And in my opinion, I'm not too fan of this colorway, but I have to cop it for the review. But I've seen a lot more KD14 colorways, and I've been itching to buy the KD14s again with a different colorway because of how nice it performs. So let's wait and see. I might sell this if any of guys you want this, and I'll cop another colorway. But there's a lot of new colorways that are out now in the market for the KD14s, and they look awesome. The multicolored ones and the Kyrie pack ones is nice, and the bread ones, lots of new colorways for the KD14. And comparing it with the upper of the Freak 3, which is a new NBA champion. Congrats to you, Giannis Antetokounmpo. I know you're watching this video. Congrats to you, bro, for winning your first NBA chip. And I just have to say this, in this NBA Finals, I don't have a heavy favorite, but for the Bucks, I like Giannis, and for Phoenix, I like Chris Paul to win a ring, and of course Devin Booker, I like his play style. But for Giannis, I'm just happy for the dude, man, because he's been through a lot. If you haven't heard the story yet on his first paycheck, where he sent his first paycheck to his family and forgot to leave a little for him. So he walked going to the practice the next day. So that's a nice story of unselfishness. So he really deserves this ring. And from a small apartment in Athens and moving to become an NBA champion in the US, and of course being a multi-millionaire now. So I'm just happy for the Antetokounmpo, especially for Giannis. They deserve it from humble beginnings. And that's a really good real life story. You just have to strive and believe, work hard, and it will pay off eventually. So going back to the Freak 3's upper, it has the same similar vibe to the upper of the KD14, but the upper of the Freak 3 is a little bit more fused compared to the KD14, which has a felt upper on top or a felt overlay on top. With the Giannis or the Freak 3, doesn't have that, just have the pattern, but it is soft. I didn't have any problems with comfort on the Freak 3s. Even right from the start, there's no crunchy feel that you will hear on the upper of the Freak 3. And as for durability and support, both are very supportive on the forefoot part. Both sneakers, in terms of lateral support, was good. Even though the upper stretches a bit, you won't feel unsupported or insecure that you will be doing side step or lateral steps on the sneakers. You will have the secure feeling on the forefoot part on these two sneakers. But as for the durability of the upper, I would lean more on the KD14s because it's a lot more thicker. The materials are thicker compared to the Freak 3s. So in terms of durability, the KD14s is a little bit more durable compared to the Freak 3s. But for the Freak 3s, it's fused in the right spot, so I don't think you'll also be having any problems in terms of durability. Now let's move on to the midfoot part of the sneaker. which the sneaker are the same, are the straps, of course. The KDs have a longer strap while the Giannis has a mini strap, and these two straps helps in a support in a little way, like it holds your laces or it prevents your laces to move so that won't loosen up. But 90% of the straps are just purely for aesthetics in my opinion, but they look good. But I like the strap more on the Freak 3s compared to the KD14s. This one looks a lot better and it looks good more on the sneaker. And as for the lacing system, both have a traditional lacing system. Both are very easy to adjust for your fit. And both thongs are very well padded, so no complaints there for comfort-wise. And as for the shape around the midfoot, this is where the little difference is between these two sneakers. On the Giannis, it's a little bit more narrow compared to the KD14s, which has more space around the midfoot. So this will be good for wide footers. If you have a wider foot, I think you will like the KD14s more compared to the Freak 3s. And as for the midfoot support, this is where the Freak 3 has a different material. It has a synthetic leather on the midfoot part of the sneaker, so it adds a little bit more durability around that area and also helps out when you're doing Eurostep or lateral moves. So this doesn't stretch at all compared to the KD14s, which is more flexible around that area. But in terms of support, I didn't feel that much difference around the midfoot, to be honest. So I think I will just say they're pretty much equal around that area. Now let's move on to the back part of the sneaker. Of course, the heel, both have very nice pillows around your ankle and heel. Let's see which is lower. The Giannis is lower around the ankle bone, while the KD's is a little bit more of a mid-top sneaker. So it really depends on your preference if you like more of a mid-top for extra security around the ankle. But if you want a low-top sneaker, the Freak 3 is for you. But both are very good around the ankle in terms of support, heel support, containment. And there's no heel slippage on this two sneaker. And another thing that of course I like about the Freak is they have pull tabs, which on the KD14s is absent. It's kind of hard at first to put your foot in on the KD14s, especially it's a mid-top sneaker. So you just have to really loosen up the laces first before you can put your foot in. While the Giannis is a low cut, plus the extra pull tab really helps you put your foot in easier. Now let's move on to the cushion part of the sneaker. So let's talk about first the support that the cushion is giving us. On the Giannis, it really is exaggerated on the sidewalls, on the lateral and medial part of the sneaker. Because of course, Giannis is a very powerful guy. He does a lot of Eurostep, like in my performance review, like I've mentioned. So you really need the maximum lateral and medial support for the sneaker. So the cushion really helps in supporting your foot and pulling your foot down to the footbed. And that is where the Freak 3 is more superior compared to the KD14s, because the cushion of the KD14s doesn't go up that high, but it still has this plate that gives you extra support. But I felt like my foot was being cradled better on the Freak 3. But don't get me wrong, the KD14s support laterally and medially. Even the strap helps that in that aspect. It's still very good, but comparing it side by side, the support that you'll be getting on the Freak 3 is a lot better compared to the KD14s, which is also still not bad. Now, of course, let's move on to the cushion feel of both sneakers, which on the KD14 is, of course, the best cushion setup still for me right now. It has a full-length Zoom straw bell, and below that is a full-length Cushlon. And Cushlon is one of the best cushion from Nike. It's very plush, so impact protection on the KD14 is very nice. Plus the bounciness that you feel from the tip of your toe to your heel, the direct bounciness, because it's a Zoom straw bell, is really way up there. But on the Freak 3, it still has a very nice cushion setup. It has two Zoom pods in the forefoot, and the carrier cushion is Phylon. You need to break it in a little bit, and the bounciness on the forefoot will eventually appear, and it's really bouncy. The two Zoom pods really are very bouncy, And on the heel, impact protection on the Freak 3s is really nice. But comparing it side by side, a Zoom Strobel really gives you a different feeling of bounciness. So in terms of bounciness, I would lean more on the KD14s, while impact protection in the heel, I would go with the Freak 3s, but the impact protection of the KD14 is still very good. But one thing that's nice about the KD14's cushion, it is closer to the ground, but the bounciness and impact protection that you'll be getting is, I think, the perfect balance for the cushion. Although the Freak 3 is not too high off the ground compared to the Zoom BB Next and the LeBron 17, which I compared it with the cushion setup. It's lower to the ground because on the Zoom pods, on the Freak 3s, it doesn't have the Phylon on top of it. So you're directly below the Zoom pods, the Strobo board, your insole, then the Zoom pods at the bottom. But in terms of court feel, the KD14 is relatively closer to the ground compared to the Freak 3. So if you're more into that, take this as a grain of salt. Lower to the ground, maximum bounciness from the forefoot and the heel. Impact protection, of course, the Giannis, because it's a thicker Phylon at the heel. I would say you will never go wrong between this two cushion setup. It's just a matter of preference which you like better. Now let's move on to the traction of these two sneakers, which, like I've mentioned in the Freak 3 performance review, it really gives me the KD14 vibes for the traction wise, because both traction blades are thin and pliable. They move a lot, and man, these two tractions, no problem. Very dependable traction from the Nike basketball line. Both tractions grips on a clean and dusty floor. Even on the moist floor, you won't have any problems with the traction on both sneakers. Both are amazing traction. Both are at par. The durability of the traction, I would say I would lean more on the traction of the KDs because it's a little bit harder compared to the Freak 3s. Although my Freak 3s, this colorway, is not made out of XDR rubber. This is not an EP version. But I think the other colorways, like the black colorway, is made out of XDR rubber. When I get the chance to feel that rubber traction, I'll give you an update on that. Maybe stay tuned. So better follow me on Instagram. Sometimes I post stories there, like an update on the sneaker. So hopefully you'll follow me. I am MARKCHES over at Instagram. So currently right now, since this is not an EP version, this is an EP version. So the rubber compound is relatively harder compared to the Freak 3. So durability wise, I would lean more towards the KD14s, but this ain't bad either. I think you could still use it outdoors, especially on the EP versions. Another difference between the tractions of these two sneakers, which I like more on the Giannis or the Freak 3s. I don't know why I keep on calling this the Giannis. The Freak 3s, it has a decoupled outsole. So what's nice with the decoupled outsole is it has a very nice heel-to-toe transition when you're running up and down the floor. And as you know, Giannis, he likes to run at full speed a lot with a lot of torque or power. So it has a nice curve on the heel and the transition on the sneaker. And that's also another thing that I noticed about the Freak 2s. It has a decoupled outsole. It has a very nice heel-to-toe transition. So heel-to-toe transition wise, the Freak 3s. Now let's talk about the width of the sneaker. Surprisingly, they're pretty much similar in terms of width. On the forefoot, I thought that the Giannis will be... Yeah, I think the Giannis is a little bit wider by a bit. And of course, the other highlight in terms of stability on the Freak 3s is of course the lateral outrigger that comes out here, which is more curved around the KD14s. But stability of the KD14s is not that bad either, but on the Giannis, on the Freak 3s, the stability is really nice. I really tried doing an excessive Euro step on the Freak 3s and I felt really supportive laterally on the Freak 3s on all my playing hours on the Freak 3s. As for the weight of these two sneakers, let's find out. So while weighing it, in terms of sizing, both get true to size if you're a regular footer and half size up if you're a wide footer. So as for the weight of the Freak 3s, 407, and this is in grams. And the KDs, 429. So I was kind of surprised there that this is a lot heavier compared to the Freak 3s because this looks a little bit more chunky compared to the KDs. Yeah, 407. I think the weight comes from the strap, and this is a mid-cut on the KDs, and maybe the cushion. I know cushion is a little bit heavier compared to Phylon because it has a denser cushion. So, but a little difference, you wouldn't mind it when you're playing with them. I interchanged with these two sneakers, and these two sneakers feels very quick and very responsive to your foot. One thing that a lot of people are asking about the weight of the sneaker, but weight is not a factor at all. If the sneaker has a good fit to your foot and it fits you perfectly well, and the traction and cushion is nice, you wouldn't feel the weight of the sneaker at all. So as for the price of the two sneakers, the Freak 3 is 6,800, while the KD14s is 7,800. So $20 difference between these two sneakers. Both are amazing performance sneaker. It really depends on the factors that I mentioned, but you'll never go wrong with these two sneakers. And it really depends on your style play, of course, what position you're playing. If you're more of a lighter player and you like total bounciness from the forefoot to the heel, closer to the ground, and a mid-cut sneaker, the KD14 is for you. But if you like doing Eurostep and you're more of a powerful player, more torque in your steps, the support that you'll be getting on the Freak 3, and if you like a low-cut sneaker, of course the Freak 3, and if you are running up and down the court a lot, you like a very nice heel-to-toe transition on the sneaker, the Freak 3 is for you. So that's it on my comparison between the KD14s and the Freak 3s. Let me know which one you would choose if you have just one sneaker to choose. Let me know in the comments down below. So this has been MARKCHES once again. Thank you for dropping by. I hope I help you guys out in choosing between these two. I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.